the intro go again?
I think Based Edge something. I can't remember. Hi, and welcome to the Based Edge podcast. We can't remember the rest. Glad you're here.
Please keep that in. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, it's been such a long time since we've done this. I've actually forgotten the intro. I know it's like, hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Based Edge Podcast. I'm your co-host, Joe Emilio, along with Mork here. I think if you are listening to this on Apple Podcasts, thank you. If you're not listening to Apple Podcast, maybe you're watching on YouTube. That's fine too. Go check us out on Apple Podcast, Spotify. Wow, I'm so rusty, man.
I know. It's fine. As long as you need something warm in this cold times, listen to our silky smooth, warm voices. It'll keep you warm in winter. Yeah.
I'm holding.
So what are we talking about, Joe?
Wait, just so people like who are maybe listening in know, like I was holding a Captain America mug to my face.
I didn't see that. That's very cool. Oh, it's like a silver shield.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, no, is the shield? It's got red, silver, and blue in it, right?
Yeah, but this is like a.
That's very cool.
Yeah, and then the other side has the
A for Afrikaner. Yeah. Avengers, sorry. Captain America. America.
Had to have it. So it's like a metal.
Yeah, that's cool.
So it keeps it warmer for longer.
Is that what the military is?
Yes. I'm just going to say yes.
I think so. I mean, like, obviously these are the trinkets you get if you go back to your country.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah, I remember I was seeing you getting a lot of that during the whole the leading up to the elections. Everybody kept telling you to fuck off, go back to your country. What are you doing here?
We can definitely talk about that too, man. Okay, so what are we going to talk about today? For those of you who are listening in, it is the 8th of July at the time of recording this. There's a lot that's happened since our last episode. I mean, a lot. There's been issues of racism once again in South Africa. There's been a new government in South Africa. Elections have happened.
And apparently,
at time.
And apparently, because of that new government, apartheid's back on the menu, boys.
Yeah, I'm
telling you, like, apartheid's back, and it's worse than when it was before. So I don't know. I'm still waiting for people to arrest me for being white on a Sunday.
Well, you're white, so apartheid benefits you. I'm a person of color, so I'm not enjoying. I've got to be careful with where I walk now. And
where do you buy whips, though? Where would I get a whip?
At the whip shop. You can try Take-A-Lot.
Let's have Take-A-Lot, but they're going to come over to your house and they can make you do things. Bale that cotton, Joe. Bale that cotton.
So I don't know. What do you want to delve into first?
I don't know. Maybe the government stuff. I mean, new government. I mean, what are your thoughts? It was like
I'm not in government.
No, you're not in government, but the new government, the fact that, we've got a new government, what do you think? Does it look like there's
hope?
I mean, there was a lot of promises. There was in the beginning was no, the DA, they'll never do anything with the ANC, and everybody said it, and now we've got a government. What's it? Government of
National Unity.
Oh, God,
Unity. Yes.
I just don't even know what that means. It just means nothing. It's just like newspeak to me. So
it just means a coalition, man. That's all it is. That's what we're in. For those of you who may not know, for the first time since 1994, the ANC went below 50%, basically almost below 40% even. So they were no longer the majority government in South Africa for the first time since 1994, which means that they had options, right? They could be in a coalition with one or two or more other parties that would bring them over 50%, or they could have government of national unity. There were other parties that could have taken a confidence and supply deal with the ANC, yada, yada. There's a lot of options, but where we found ourselves now is the ANC leading up to the GNU was being pressured into being in a coalition with the DA, even though before the elections, everybody was saying, oh, the DA might be with the ANC. And then the DA was like, no, we're not going to be with the ANC. We want to save South Africa. And then the moment elections happened and the results came out, they're like, you know what? We're going to be with the ANC, guys. It's the best option for South Africa. It's like, okay, liars. Anyway, so what happened was, because the ANC was getting pressure from business and private sector and a whole lot of other organizations saying, even from within the ANC, saying, oh, you need to be with the DA, you need to be in a coalition with the DA. The ANC was worried that some of their followers might not like that. Also, there was squabbles within the ANC saying that we mustn't be with a white party. Anyway, so the ANC decided to throw a bit of a curveball and say, hey, we want a government of national unity. What does that mean? That basically means that we want every party that exists within the parliamentary to be part of government. And effectively what they did was they threw the ball in the other court, right? So they said, like, so they could say, like, for those parties that don't want to be part of the GNU, they could say, well, then you're not patriotic. You don't want to save South Africa. You don't want to make South Africa better. We're coming to the table. We're saying everybody is welcome. And if you don't join us, well, then you look like the bad guy. That's essentially what the ANC did. Successfully, I might add.
Successfully, yeah. Very successfully. It was a great chess move there, because now if you don't want to, then, you look like the idiot. And they kind of knew. I mean, we knew that MK wasn't going to. They weren't going to step up, because their list of demands were just unattainable. And I think it was the same with the EFF. Yeah.
Well, the EFF was like, we don't want to be in. If you're going to let the DA in the GNU, then we're not going to be a part of it.
I mean, you know what I would have preferred? I would have preferred if the MK, the EFF, and all the other parties, including the DA, started their own government and went, oh no, we're just all together. Fuck the ANC. We've got 60%. Screw you guys. We're doing a thing. It's because the thing is, it's like a coalition is basically parliament. Everybody's working together already. Just run the country together. Who's the best? Who's out of everybody here? Who's the best finance guy? That guy. Cool. He's got a degree. Let's pick him. But the problem is, it's politics. And
yep.
And that's the thing.
Don't forget, man, the ANC has a lot of caterers in certain areas. It has a lot of syndicates established. There are people that want their money. They don't want the gravy train to end just yet.
No,
so yeah. And I think that's why the current cabinet that they've chosen is it's laughable, but at the same time, I think I know what the DA is doing. So yeah.
But the thing is also, like, they're in government now. So the chance of being privy to certain things, certain procedures, maybe that gives them better access to that, because they're ministers now. You get, because how are they going to keep all the corruption from them? I mean, they were able to do it before. They probably still can. But now, we can go, like, they can limit certain things, hopefully, if the people, are still willing to curb corruption and not be part of it now.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I don't know if any of the ministers, put it this way. I don't know if any political party can be with the ANC without being eaten up. That's number one. Number two, I think the DA is playing the long game. They've chosen strategic sectors to hopefully make better. I mean, one example is education, right? I mean, if they snuff the Bella bill, that's a huge win for them. If they start making education better in the country, that's just going to better their messaging, right? Like, hey, we're fixing education, we're fixing this, we're fixing that. So I know that a lot of people were making fun of John. I was one of them for being Minister of Agriculture. But
I love the memes. Come on, the memes are amazing. God, those memes were so awesome. Yeah. And people speaking out was the funniest part, though. I love that. Like,
all the land jokes.
Oh my God. Seriously.
But on a real level, though, he could turn it around in terms of imports and exports. I mean, as a country, we export more than we import. So he could turn that around, and that would benefit the economy. That would benefit the country itself. So there's certain strategic things that I'm seeing. Okay, cool. I think I saw an article yesterday already about education being changed and stuff like that for teachers and stuff like that. So I didn't read the full article, but I just quickly saw the headline or something about teachers. And I'm like, okay, this sounds like a good idea. And yeah, so if the DA in the next 5 years can withstand the temptation, not really that they're tempted, but maybe a better word would be
when you're in charge of budgets and that type of thing, it's like it's a different story now. There's a reason politicians are lower than lawyers in hell, is because politicians, the thing is, there's a reason that the bad guy in Star Wars was a politician.
That's true. I think that I'm cautiously optimistic when I say this. I think that we are on the cusp of a new South Africa. I'm still skeptical. I'm still look. ANC still has 40%. But power.
Here's a question I have: like, what stops Cyril tomorrow going, okay, I'm firing, 2 of the DA ministers? I mean, it's like in the beginning of the back and forth that happened, picking the GNU took forever because there's this, the saying from Thomas Sowell, there are no solutions, only trade-offs. Like I don't think the DA, what leverage did the DA have to actually pick any ministerial positions? They were like, maybe they had a contract, they had a deal, but the ANC just go, well, it's either that or nothing. So the DA is going, we'll take what we can get, because the thing is, the way I looked at it, going, okay, cool. If they can make any difference, even if it's in one sector, I'll take that versus the ANC running all of it. You know what I mean? So, but I mean,
that's why I say I think the DA is playing the long game, because if they run with what they have and they execute it very well, then it's a win for them in the next elections. They've just got to be on top of their marketing campaign. However, in the same line, if the DA gets eaten up, that's going to kill them. I think that's the huge risk, right? There's a huge payoff, but at the same time, there's a huge risk. If the DA fails at this, then I think their party is quite damaged. I don't see how they can come back from that.
I don't know either.
So, but anyway, I mean, we don't know a lot about the GNU. We're definitely not experts. It's just things that I've heard through talking to a lot of people. And I think I think it's interesting times for South Africa. So far, nothing's burnt down. Nothing's gone to shit.
How's Eskom still running? Like no load shedding.
That apparently is because of, I've heard through my sources, the reason why Eskom, sorry?
Winter. Because it's cold. Obviously, machines can run a lot longer for that's just the basic concept of machinery. It doesn't run as hot as in summer. You don't have to turn it off. It lasts longer. Cycles of, imagine running an engine in the blazing heat versus in a cold temperature. Engine can run
last year they said we had load shedding because of winter, because it was too cold.
Oh, okay.
But that was just an excuse. Doesn't mean it was true. But logically, I hear what you're saying.
But, this is like the MI6 sources.
Yes. So my MI6 contact told me that the reason why there's load shedding at the moment is because a lot of businesses have gotten solar and recontributed to the grid.
Oh, wow.
So that's why. So the private sector, in other words.
Basically, because I mean, it's not like Eskom's winning. They still want to up the electricity by 44%. I think I saw a headline.
The infrastructure is still dismal. It's just the businesses that have gotten more solar, which is helping the grid survive. Yeah. So, I mean, thank you, businesses. Thank you.
Yeah.
But maybe we should get. But did you hear?
No.
That the electricity minister wants he wants to build a new nuclear power plant bigger than the one in Kubrick. Yeah, so you can imagine the tendas on that one, right?
I mean, like the last one that blew up 3 days after they turned it on.
That wasn't a nuclear power plant. That was just a power
of course,
plant.
because But imagine the fuck up if the same thing happens this time around, right? They turn it on and they blow it up. It's not like, oh, it's just an explosion. Everyone is dead.
Yeah,
Winter.
that's why.
Luckily I play Fallout, so I'm prepared for this shit. I know how to like transfer water, drinking, and all this stuff. So I'm cool.
But that's why I think it won't explode. But it will take a very long time to build. It will go way over budget.
Of course it will. But I just, again, like you say this with this confidence, I'm going like, if you had to put a glass with warm pee in and ask the ANC to look after it, there's a 90% chance or 100% chance that thing's going to crack and spill all over whatever it's standing on. So I don't know. I don't have that kind of faith, my friend.
Well, yeah. So that might be happening. Obviously in the name of we need to like keep up the good, we've been avoiding load shedding for so long, we need to keep it up and we can't afford to go back. And
so we're going to give you guys power, but we're going to up the rate by 44%.
Yes. No, but they need to up the rate by 44% in order to give us more power, you see.
Yeah, and also like to make sure that Soweto just gets free power. What do they owe, like 8? I don't even know. I didn't want to know.
It's because they secretly have little rats and mice on little treadmills running underground. And they need to get paid, and there's a lot of cheese.
I mean, you're onto an idea there. Why don't we do that? Like, we've got so many prisoners in prison. Why don't we get like those cyclists, right? So they stay fit and they generate power. They hook them up. What's the new Minister of Prisons? He can sort that cock out. He was going like,
yeah, but how are you gonna keep the prisoners on the bike though? Like rats and mice, you can train them, right, and feed them with cheese. How are you gonna keep the inmates on the bikes? What's the incentive?
You can just, I mean, they already show them porn. Cut the porn off and go like, if you run the bicycle, it also powers the TV that puts you porn. Or just dangle a crack pipe in front of them. I don't know. The guy from FF Plus, what's it? I keep saying it, VF.
FF Plus, Groeneveld.
Yeah, him. Yeah, him.
Yeah, what about him?
Crack the whip. Make people work. Make prisoners like fix potholes. Do something. Christ.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean,
again, I don't think you can make them work, right? You can't make them work. Because I was seeing the guy from El Salvador, the president of El Salvador, he basically said, no prisoners can now live for free. They are all going to work. And it's like, wow, that's great. That's a good idea. Why don't we do that all around? But apparently you can't do that here because prisoners have rights.
That's and dumb. There's like gang leaders in the prison that run everything. The wardens are scared of the prisoners. So we're talking about the same country that has a prison where Talbot Bester escaped.
Yeah.
And quite easily. I say that loosely because it wasn't that easy, but it was easy enough for him to do it. And in the most theatrical Hollywood way possible. So
somebody got burnt in his prison cell and they didn't know. It's like, did you guys not just do a basic count of how many people there were? Like,
do you think some of these guards were not on the payroll? Like, come on, man.
Of course, but it's like
a little bit of cheese.
Just give me the roll call. Okay, who's missing? No one. Okay, just give it to me. No. Jeffrey, pass it here. This guy. You scratch his name out. Where's he? Oh, okay. Just no one checked. That's all that happened, Joe.
No one checked, yeah.
No one checked.
And all right, what else are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about what's it called? So let's seeing as we're on the topic of politicians and stuff.
Yeah. Cool.
Let's talk. Let's talk a bit about what happened to one of our political friends. Although I don't know if he's your friend, but
no,
he's
I just know him.
Yeah.
I don't know him. I'm not friends with racists. I'm kidding. No, I'm joking. Honestly, no, dude, you know my position. I'm basically I used to be a free speech absolutist. Now I'm a semi-free speech absolutist because I do believe there should be only one prerequisite of like where free speech stops, and it's like incitement to violence. I think that's the only one. Even after talking to Mark, I still think I'm pretty much free speech absolutist, except when it comes to incitement to violence and like libel law. I think that's established. I'm happy with those. Anything else should go. So even saying mean, hurtful things. Yes.
Aren't you the sweetest? I think I've become a free speech absolutist, man. I think we should say everything we want to say with no repercussions whatsoever, and the free market will decide. No, I'm kidding. I'm in the same ballpark you are. And you know, for those of you who may not know, although I doubt you don't, we're talking about Renaldo Gouws, in case you haven't picked that up, who was in a bit of a debacle recently when there was a video he made once in 2010 or 2009, somewhere there, where he made a shock content video on YouTube. And at the time, that's what people were doing on YouTube. There's no monetization or anything like that. It was a period of the internet, which I think around that time was actually, the internet was quite disgusting. It's still disgusting, but it was quite disgusting there too. And
you're talking about OnlyFans. Those are beautiful girls trying to make a living. Don't be mean to OnlyFans girls, Joe. They can't help it. Okay.
I was only talking about your wife. Okay, so I'm just saying. No, I'm kidding, Carmen. If you ever watch this, that was just a joke. Really. All right. So, shock content on YouTube. Anyway, I don't want anyone to think that I'm trying to excuse what he said, because I'm not. I'm just explaining that at that time, that was the phase, and or the craze. Anyway, he decides to make a bit of a shock intro by saying, kill all the effing N-words, kill all the effing K-words. Now, if we do have any international viewers, the K-word, I cannot say it because it's actually illegal to say in South Africa, apparently.
Can we show it, though?
Yeah. Well, actually,
See, but that's the same as saying it. Then how would it be?
See, this is actually the point of our conversation.
This is the problem. Yeah, exactly. This is where you're getting.
I could say it because for educational purposes and reporting. In that realm, I am allowed to say it. But I personally am just not comfortable saying that.
No, of course. No, neither. I wouldn't say it if I were you, because look at the way people react.
I can spell it, right? So like it's Kaffir, I think.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So it derives from an Arabic word, which means non-believer. But in apartheid era, it was used very much like the N-word for the Africans in South Africa. And it's very derogatory. It's very offensive. I don't like saying the N-word, and I don't like saying the K-word. So it's fine. He used those words, which was not okay. And subsequently, he was talking about, I think at that time, Julius had just sung Kill the Boer. Zuma was also having his song about killing people. There was this whole racial tension happening in South Africa at the time. And Renaldo was just saying, he was trying to make a point that, how does it make you feel if I say kill all the N-words, kill all the K-words? How does that make you feel? How did that as a black person, make you feel? And that is the point.
But the words you're saying, that was the direct next sentence after saying those words. He directly went to, how does that make you feel? Blah, 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 blah. As a black person, how does that make you feel? I don't mean any of this. I'm using it as an example to explain to you, this is how people feel when they hear the song.
Yes. 100%.
Full context. Obviously, when it came out, that wasn't the story. They played the first part, cut out the center part, and then added the ending on, and it kind of made no sense. It just sounded like some white guy was saying the first part about kill all the N, kill all the K, and then, oh my God.
Yeah, so what Mork is talking about is IOL breaking the news. And just showing the beginning of the video where he's saying kill the N-word, kill the K-word.
It's weird how they don't call it doctoring when they do it, hey?
Exactly. No, it's reporting, Mark.
Yeah, it's just reporting. It's like they just...
So anyway, huge smear campaign happened. Obviously, you could just tell this was orchestrated. You could just tell that this was a huge dig at not just Ronaldo. I think Ronaldo is just unfortunate, sacrificial lamb, but
yeah.
It was all around the time that negotiations for the GNU was still happening. And boy, did this thing explode in South Africa. Ronaldo was trending for over a few days, I think at least almost a week. It's a horrible thing.
The following day, the South African Human Rights Commission actually went out of their way to go lay the charge in person, taking selfies as they go. It's like I've never seen Karens more happy ever. Unless there was that one part where the Democrats kneeled for Black Lives Matter. That was those are the two times.
And I think it's also important to mention that Renaldo had deleted this video, by the way. I think a few years later, after he made the video, he went back into his YouTube channel and he started deleting some videos that he admits he wasn't proud of. He actually put a post on Facebook apologizing. Nobody forced him. Nobody said, hey, Renaldo, you need to apologize for these videos. No, he went back by himself, did some self-reflection and said, hey, these videos are a bit insensitive.
Exactly.
I'm going to say sorry because I don't like what some of the stuff I said. And he put a huge apology on Facebook. It was very nice. Again, unprovoked. He did it himself and deleted the videos.
I want to add something to that, though. That exact same video was actually featured on Third Degree a few years ago, not about it being racist at all. It was the entire context of the Third Degree article or like story was about the difference between how race affects people and talking about the fact that racial tension is rising. But nowhere in the Third Degree sort of expose where they interviewed Ronaldo did anybody make the claim that his video is racist. Because even at the time they went, in context, it's not racist. It's an example. It's educational. It's shock value. It's all of those things. It was shock value, but the reason he's doing it, he's talking about a political position in politics, something that's happening where you have politicians allowed to do it and him doing a comparison between the two. I mean, wasn't racist then, but hey.
Yeah, it's 2024, man. 2024, we see it through a whole new lens and it's racist. Yeah. But and now we need to condemn him.
Of course.
For something he did 14 years ago.
I heard like people on the internet were vicious though. He needs to be killed. He needs to be shot. He needs to go to prison for it. He needs to be. They need to throw him out of the country. I mean, it was interesting. Like these were people that really friendly people, just going like, everybody that is the same color as Ronaldo should leave the country because of what Ronaldo said. Nice folks. They don't sound racist at all.
No, they sound quite normal. I do have a question though about this whole situation. I mean, we've very lightly touched on it, and I think we've gotten the crux of it. So the question here is though, you say something 14 years ago, 10 years ago, and you realize there are ways, you delete it.
Yeah.
Somehow it gets dug up 10 years later. Now it's being used to basically cancel you. Do you think that's fair? Do you think not sarcastic, I mean it's a serious question. That idea of let's go back into Mork's history, let's go back into Joe's history, find something that we can nail these guys on, nail them to the wall over. Do you think that attitude, that kind of society that we're living in now, do you think that's fair? I don't think it's fair.
No, I don't think it's fair, but I think it's that's the society that we propagate, because it's like if off topic, we live in a constitutional republic, right? We don't live in a democracy, but communism is pushing us towards democracy, which is mob rule. Now, if you're pushing that politically, people are going to do the same thing, and this is what they've been doing. They're doing it socially, the same thing. It's mob rule. It's like the mob has now decided Ronaldo must be cancelled. It's like, okay, but it's not fair, because if you can go. I mean, after this, we maybe get into the part that I kind of have an issue with, but I don't think it's fair. It's like if you self-reflected, you've removed this thing, then you've removed it. It's no longer on the internet. You've dug it up. This is somebody said a while ago. It's a tough one. It's the internet, and the internet never forgets. So it's like even though he's deleted it, I would have just gone. You know what? The way I did it was different, but I still stand by it because it's educational, trying to explain something. You know what I mean? It's like it gets tricky though. That's where I'm.
Yeah, but like that's where like it's like like I don't agree with the words that he used. I agree with the messaging that he tried to put out there. But now, regardless of that, though, he said the words, right?
Yeah.
So, do you think it's justified for people to say, "Well, he said the words. It's not right that he said the words. He got away with it," as some people were saying. So, do you think it's right to crucify him now?
No, I don't think so. I don't think it is right to crucify him. I don't think the thing is people can think whatever they want to, but the law can't step in. And the thing is like the DA reacting, going, "We're suspending him." Well,
I think the DA should have a bit of a spine. It's fine that It's fine that they suspended him. They had to do it. But now is a critical time because the DA has this tendency, right? That when shit hits the fan, they want to quickly clean up the shit.
Yeah.
Okay. And it doesn't always work in their favor. Most of the time it doesn't, right? They're like, okay, let's clean the shit because everybody's freaking out, right? But then, so for example, right, the DA has been labeled as a racist political party because it's white or whatever, or because it's believed that it's a predominantly white political party, which isn't true. And this label has been the case, or this label has been given to them before the Renaldo incident, and it's probably going to be given to them after the Renaldo incident. Doesn't make a difference, right?
No, 100%.
So DA,
why the need to come up then?
Yeah, if you ever watch this DA, just step on the grenade this one time. Just take one for the team. And stand by your boy Renaldo, because DA, listen, Helen, I'm talking to you respectfully, and John, okay? Y'all are going to be called racist whether you get rid of Renaldo or not. The damage is done. There's nothing that's going to change that.
The people calling them racist are not going to stop, because everybody that called them racist before, after you suspended Renaldo, did they stop calling you racist?
Nope. They still do. And even if, okay, not even if Renaldo does get cleared of these charges, right? He probably will. People realize, okay, he wasn't racist or whatever, blah blah, and you keep him on board and blah blah. Fight it. Yeah. Fight against the woke mob. Fight against the how did Helen put it? Architectural. Something on BDL show. I forgot there was a term she used, architectural something. Just fight against that. Make an example that people can't just jump to conclusions without all the facts. Yeah. And at the end of the day, you'll be doing yourself better, and you'll be standing on your principles, which is something the DA unfortunately doesn't do. They don't have a spine. Look, and I always go back to this example of when the Phoenix was that big, the Phoenix riots was happening and all that stuff. And then the DA put up these posters saying heroes, and then they got flack for that. And then John goes out on SABC. This SABC journalist is trying so hard to get John into a corner, but John is doing that mental gymnastics with the journo. And then, but so beautiful that what John said, right? It was excellent. And then the next day they take down the posters. I'm like, oh, you just ruined what John said. You spineless.
Just stand on your principle. That's the main thing. But I mean, you posted something. I remember you posted something on X where you said, like, you don't agree, like nobody should use those words, and it's like we condone it. And then it got me thinking. I was going, but actually, as society, we condone those words. We do condone a certain amount of racism, right? And then I kind of got to thinking, I was going like, but hold on a second, right? So if Ronaldo's using it, okay, so let's factor in there was context to it. He was using it. Ronaldo made a video talking about a political situation. He was using it for shock value to entertain, and he was doing it to educate, and he was doing it as a comparison, right?
Mm-hmm.
How is this different? Example of seeing the K word on a Wikipedia page. That's educational, right? How is this different to seeing, for example, Leonardo DiCaprio say the K word in Django Unchained, or saying the N word in Django Unchained, or saying the K word in Blood Diamond? Like, if you compare Ronaldo's, and if we're going to be what's the word called? If we're going to be fair and we truthful to what he was doing, let's not just pawn it off as like he's just making a video to impress people or to be racist. He made a video as a comparison. Let's be honest about it. That's what he was doing. So in the thought process of that, right, you've got somebody making a video to entertain, I wouldn't say it was entertainment. It was comparison and educational, talking about actual physical stuff happening in the society. Where Julius Malema was singing "Kill the Boer," he made a comparison. Do we have to agree with his comparison? Not at all. No. Do you think it's the same being called a bird versus being called the K word? No, I don't. But he's allowed to make the comparison. The thing that I have an issue with is that is somehow wrong, what Ronaldo did. But somehow, because if you think of what entertainment is, it's to amuse people. Somehow, your amusement allows for racism. So you're fine with just being amused, having like a comedian say a racist joke, or being entertained. A movie or a rap song where they say the N word, that's fine. But in an educational piece that somebody's done, that's somehow, oh no, that's racism. But the other one isn't. I can't wrap my head around that. I like, because there's levels of like education. If you read in a book and it's about apartheid, and the book goes, oh, they used to call black people the K word and the N words, going, okay, yeah, cool. But then you've got a movie, you're going, well, it's got a little bit to do with history. I mean, I don't know what Django Unchained has to do with history apart from going, this is what it's like, or Blood Diamond. It's pure entertainment. They made the movie to make money, but somehow they get a free pass because it's amusement, or doing it in rap songs. It's like, I asked a friend of mine, like, hypothetically, right? You can have somebody listening to the most racist rap song there is, where they use the N word continuously, and it would be fine. And what happens if you told that person, like a couple of days later, oh, that's actually a white person singing it? Will they suddenly be emotionally traumatized by it? Because the main part that I have a problem with is the fact that words can emotionally traumatize people. Like, how do words emotionally traumatize people? Like, this is the one thing I didn't get to ask Mark. What's his name?
Mark Oppenheimer. Yeah.
Mark Oppenheimer. The one thing I was like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. So if I had to listen to, if I was a black person trying to empathize with them and go like, I heard a black rapper sing the song and using the N word, I'm totally cool. I feel liberated. And then I suddenly read an article about Ronaldo going, oh, all of a sudden that's traumatized. That sounds like irrational craziness to me, right?
Well, I mean, we can talk about the example I think that will fit in well with what you're talking about right now is, I think it's Bianca Scumbi or something like that. I could have the name completely wrong, but it was basically a young lady who, when I say young, I mean, I think she was old enough to enter Miss South Africa. And she, again, same kind of thing that happened to Renaldo, sort of. She was entering to be Miss South Africa, and her haters dug into her, at the time it was Twitter, profile, and found a very old tweet that she had tweeted when she was like, I don't know, in high school or even younger. Maybe she was 12 or 13. I don't know. And it was a quote from a song which had the N word in it. And she was canceled. She wasn't allowed to be in the Miss South Africa. I think she lost a few things along. Like, when I say lost a few things, I'm not sure if the school expelled her, but like she lost other things besides, like, opportunity wise. and yeah, completely canceled. And again, to your point, right? She was quoting a song, but because she's white.
But see, that makes no sense to me. Like, what rational world do we live in where we've got certain words that certain people of a certain race can't say? I remember Mark, when we were having the thing with Mark Oppenheimer, he brought up a case about the first guy that was accused of it was actually a black reporter who got accused for he said the K word, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. But he got, so here's my question. If you remove context, because this is the main thing I got pushed back on. Context, going like, context, what about Julius Malema singing Kill the Boer? I was going like, as a free speech absolutist to a degree, I'm going like, if he's singing a song, sure, I whatever, doesn't matter. But the thing is, let's evaluate intent. Of all the songs, of all the struggle songs that exist, why that one?
Mm-hmm.
Why that one? Why every time? Why is that the one? Okay, cool. So let's say, argument's sake, let's give that to you. Context matters. It's just a song. I don't think it cares. I don't care. Cool, do it. But then context, either context matters or it doesn't. Pick one. For fuck's sake, pick one. You can't have it both ways. If context matters, context matters.
Context does matter, but also intent matters, which is where, what's his name? Martin van Staden on my show was talking about. That the intent for Renaldo was not there. Like Renaldo didn't go on to say, "Oh, I really want to kill these guys. I really want that. They should all die." Blah blah blah. No, he very quickly, as you mentioned earlier,
next sentence.
I didn't mean what I just said, but I'm just trying to convey an emotion to you guys and trying to make you understand how I feel when someone says "kill the Boer," and that was his intent, and that intent is it wasn't to incite violence.
No.
And it's the same with Bianca, who I think her name is Bianca. Her intent wasn't to be racist or anything like that. She was just like quoting lyrics, and going back to your point, about art, that's why it gets a free pass, is because of the intent. So in movies like Django Unchained, for example, the intent isn't to make saying those words cool or acceptable or anything like that. The intent is to educate to a certain degree, but also, yes,
loosely
educate, because
Django Unchained educate.
But also the intent. Besides the intent, there was three things: intent, incitement, and I forgot what the third one was. But with art and with film and all that stuff, specifically Hollywood, let's take YouTube out of it, just Hollywood. There is a free pass because it is a form of art. And I'm sure, I'm sure there are people that were offended when Leonardo DiCaprio said the N-word, and I'm sure there's people that were offended when he said the K-word, and I'm sure people did want to cancel him at the time or whatever, but people understood that it was a movie and he was playing a character and it was a certain time, blah, 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 blah. Of
course.
So I don't think that warrants for someone to try and cancel Leonardo DiCaprio. No. I mean, there's that movie, what's it called? 12 Years a Slave. There's a lot of N-words in that movie.
A lot.
That was more true to the time, right? It was more of a educational kind of movie. And in those instances, I do feel uncomfortable when another character says it to another character. But it is what happened at the time. And I feel that if we shy away from even seeing those kinds of scenes, then we're censoring ourselves, really, and society. And who's to say that if you censor it enough, like if we took away all the N-words and all the K-words and we said no one in any way, shape, or form is allowed to say any more of these words, otherwise you get the death sentence, right?
Yeah.
That's not going to be good either, because at some point, someone's going to start saying it again without knowing. When enough generations go by, there's going to be another word, or even that word, that will creep up again, and people will try and defy the law and fight it. And it will be said in dark corners of the world, and it'll rise again. So it's better to not censor it. It's better to accept it, or not accept it, but like,
I'd say accept it.
well, when I say accept it, I mean like accept that in certain instances, it's acceptable because of the not value, because of the situation or
Historic.
the context.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I put it this way. I remember what this is the thing, right? If you look at, I would approach it the way rap did, because rap music, they took that power away from the word. They made the word almost mean nothing. Like, I mean, in the 90s, it wasn't like, this is now right after apartheid. Because of American culture, it wasn't considered almost even a racial slur. It was a racial slur, but in the context of using it, hey, what's up, my N-word? Like, like that would, we would speak like that to each other. I mean, this is multiracial friend group of like, you'd say it to your black friend, and it wouldn't be considered, oh, what did you say to me? It's like, it was just kind of, and that's what rap did. Rap removed the power of the word.
Yeah.
It's like it took it completely away. And then somehow woke culture evolved, going, well, you can't say this about, and then it kind of came back, and it's going, like, that would be better. You can't have a word. To give you an example, right? The word slave comes from Slavic, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't get upset because, that's white people. White people were the first people to be enslaved, back in the day. It's like, there's not a single word in the dictionary that you can say to me that's going to make me emotionally traumatized or triggered or upset. Like, I think telling someone to go fuck themselves, their mom, is worse than going, hey, bud. I mean, that's what I've been referred to, I think of the past week, as, hey, white scum, white boy, colonizer, all the stuff. Like, it means nothing to me. Like, nothing. There's no word that exists that could traumatize me. Sticks and stones. Like, if you give a word power, you're just going to have power. And back to your point, Joe, is the fact that I agree with you. If you outlaw it, the problem I have with that is not so much that, is more of like, well, if you're going to outlaw a word, what's the next word? Okay, now you can't say the K word. Now you can't say the N word. Now you can't say fuck the ANC.
Well, I imagine next would be faggot and all that other stuff.
Yeah, but it's like, that's why I kind of like what Elon did, because it's like, it's free speech. Like, if you want to say something, I don't think there should be a law there shouldn't be any kind of law that discriminates based on race, first off.
Yeah.
Like, but this is what that is. It's like, well, okay, so what words can't you say to white people? Because I'm not a Boer. I don't identify as a Boer. I'm not one. I don't work on a farm. That's not my thing. But I get referred to as that. I'm not a colonizer. I'm not a colonizer. I've never colonized anything. It sounds like a fun thing to do. There's just, nothing left to colonize. I wish I could find a place where they were still sacrificing kids, and I can bring law and order and eventually cell phones and stuff. I can't, right? So, like, I'm not a colonizer, but I don't take offense to, if you want to call me that, as like, oh, that's your big gotcha. I'm like, oh no. Like.
Yeah, no, look, I do hear what you're saying. People shouldn't be offended, but I think that being offended is a personal choice, not choice.
Yes, of course.
I wouldn't say it's a choice. I don't think anybody chooses to be offended. I think certain things that are said to people in a certain way, right? So, for example, if you told me, Joe, I think you're an idiot, right? And you said it in a way like that, you're like, Joe, you're an idiot. I wouldn't really bat an eye about it. But if you said it in a way that's condescending, like I'm a child, for me,
it would be upsetting. Yeah.
It would be upsetting.
If
not necessarily offended, but just quite upsetting, right? And
yeah, of course.
And
but context matters.
Yes. So in the same,
if it was me saying it to you, and I'm your friend, we're like, you're a dick. We're supposed to be friends.
Exactly.
If some random person did it, would it matter to you?
Yeah, again, it would depend on the context. Like, if it's some random person on X, no, I maybe get called worse things than that.
Exactly.
But most of the time, I'm just thinking, okay, say that to my face. Say it to my face, and then we'll see if you have the balls to do that. But Yeah. So I mean, but when we're not talking about like some anon on X, we're talking about what
Yeah,
people see on a screen, right? And
yeah,
I think maybe that's also part of it. Like we see Leonardo DiCaprio saying the N word. Nobody, audiences watching Leonardo DiCaprio in Cape Town in Stir-Kennicor don't know him
yeah.
personally.
No, of course.
So it's a shock factor. It's like, oh my word, he said the K word. But like at the same time, it's like we know he's an actor. We know
Yeah,
this is like a film or whatever. For Ronaldo, he's not an actor. He's not.
yeah.
He's not. He was at the time a persona,
I mean, yeah, of
um,
course.
which we again needs to be taken into consideration.
Yeah.
And again, he would never ever say those words now,
No, of course not.
being part of government,
No, of
being
course, 100.
in
percent
his position.
But
So
yeah, yes, yeah. Here's an analogy for you. So the K word is obviously in Wikipedia, right?
yeah,
So the guy who wrote it, what if he's white? Who wrote the entry, the void? Like, so is that now considered? Is that considered? If he had come to South Africa, would the government arrest him? Going, "Oh, you wrote the K word and you explained it. You're white." Like, I mean, where do we draw the line? It's going.
yeah.
This is the issue I have. It's sort of selective reasoning. That's why I said early on, as a society, we do condone the use of the racial slur. Just it depends what's subjectively okay to you. It's
Yeah.
going like I'm going. It should be there should be no sort of. It shouldn't be outlawed for one. I think that's really stupid to do that because that's unequal justice. What other words are there that black people can use for white people, or what words is there that all the other races could? So we can't say anything derogatory about Chinese people or Indians. Like we don't have Indians, white
Well,
people. They don't have any of that protection.
yeah, but by outlawing the K word, you are saying that you can say anything to the other races, because
Yeah, but you can.
there is no
Yeah, you can.
other.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, but that's my point. It's like the only people being protected, technically, and in this scenario, is the majority of the country who are black. But you can't say anything derogatory. You can't use those two words to describe them. But you could. I mean, the stuff I've seen people call, especially during you mentioned earlier during the Durban riots, the things people were calling Indians. Like
yeah.
that's not cool. Like there was nobody made any case. Like the South African Human Rights Commission didn't go lay charges to the people. And the worst part is like if you remove context with the Ronaldo thing, it's like the K word was trending on Twitter, guys.
Yeah, and also like people will say maybe like, yeah, but Ronaldo's in parliament, and I'll remind you again,
he wasn't at the time.
He didn't say it at the time. People must remember this video was not made 2 days ago. It was made 14 years ago, and we're crucifying someone for something they made 14 years ago, which they deleted, apologized for on their own, and now some EFF supporting journalist with a hard on has this video and is so salivating at his mouth that he got to dig in to Ronaldo and created this situation that we find ourselves in. And you know what? Like, as much as I really hate cancel culture and really hate the situation that Ronaldo's in, because yeah, I don't think he deserved it.
No, I don't think so either.
I really hope nothing bad happens to that journalist. And you might not think I'm serious, but I'm dead serious. I really hope, because if this journalist ever watches this, dude, you better lawyer the fuck up, man, because your shit is over, my guy.
But I mean, that's the thing, dude. This is like the lowest form of this is he's not a journalist. This is an activist. This is the problem with journalism. It's filled with people who are you're not reporting on the news because you selectively edited the part because it sounded like I was going, holy shit, when I saw it. I was going, oh, shit. I just because there was a video that came out 2 days before it or 3 days before it where Ronaldo said something about if Africa disappeared, no one would care. I'm going like, and people are like, oh my God, that's so racist. I actually came out and I defended the stating. And I was defending Ronaldo as a person. I'm going, what he said wasn't racist because sure, like if the Earth disappeared out of the galaxy, the rest of the galaxy couldn't give a shit. Like, yeah, that's totally normal. Africa, like if it disappeared, the rest of the world would know. Yeah, maybe there's an argument there, right? It's not racist because there are also other races that live in Africa, including Ronaldo and his entire race of Afrikaans people.
And again,
Like,
another
you
video
moron.
made 14 years ago, by the way.
Exactly. So like, I'm going like, I defended him, and then this video comes out, and I'm like, oh my God, what the hell? And then I was like, oh shit. And then 2 days later, I'm like, oh wait, there's context to it, because I saw the edit. I'm going, wait,
I also
dude,
saw
we
the
do
edit.
this for a living. We're going like, why did you cut it right there? And I was going, wait, hold on, where's the original video? And then
There was a
I
frame.
think somebody found it, and I was going, kiff, awesome. The whole thing, and it's going, that changes the entire thing. And eventually it was just like, yeah, initially I was going, oh, that's wrong. Dude, not cool. Then when I watched the entire thing in context, I'm going like, yeah, that's totally normal. That's not racist
And
at all.
look, I think any rational person would come to that conclusion. I think the people we're talking about that are offended and want to burn Ronaldo at the stake are wokies.
They're not right. Yeah.
To be honest, I couldn't give a shit what you guys think. I know.
Yeah, no.
I mean, you all think you run the world, and a lot of you are going to be crying. I'm not going to say when, but you're going to be crying in your future. It might not be in the next few months. It may not be in the next year, but you will be crying. You will be crying. And I think on that note, man, we should leave it there.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna add one more thing, it's just I think as a society we should all think about the certain things that we deem as okay, because there is a bit of a contradiction in your point, right? Like, yeah, it's okay to say it here or say it there in this context or whatever, but there does need to be some level of agreement as to when is it okay and when is it not okay. And I feel that a lot of the mob crowd are very selective when it is okay and when it's not okay, because some of their very own have used that word and nothing bad has happened to them. There's comedians in South Africa, I'm not going to say too much for various reasons, but there are comedians in South Africa that have used the N-word and the K-word in their act, and it's been okay.
Yeah.
But
this is the part I don't get, Joe. Like, now it's like, moving Ronaldo aside, it's not about Ronaldo. It's the philosophy around it. It's make me understand that. So it's like I remember this a while ago when there was like another example, like off Ronaldo, for example, like Trump or American politics. It's like some random YouTuber makes a Nazi joke. Oh my God, he's the alt-right, he's a Nazi. Then you've got Hollywood, who make Nazi movies all the time. And it's like, they took what is that Jojo Rabbit? Have you watched that? The one where they go, Heil Hitler, Heil Hitler, Heil Hitler. And there's a Barbie meme of it where it goes, hi Barbie. And then it cuts to this thing, go, Heil Hitler, Heil Hitler, Heil Hitler, right? So that's basically they take the piss out of the Germans during the war, but it's like, it's set during the war, the Holocaust. It's like, okay, so wait, Hollywood is allowed to make fun of the Nazis, to make fun of the concept of the Holocaust, it's fine if they do it. But when a YouTuber does it, somehow the same rules don't apply. It's like if you report on news, you're somehow not a journalist than, I don't know, somebody who gets employed by a news reporting on the news. It's like, you're doing the same thing. Why do they get a pass? It's like, it's going like, well, Joe, you're a comedian. And I'm going, well, I tell jokes on YouTube. And you're going, well, you're not really a comedian. It's like, no, I fucking am if I want to. If I tell jokes, I get to be a comedian. It's like, there's no, like, you didn't apply for a comedian certificate, go to comedian school. Like,
how do you know? You don't know that. Anyway, so, but this is my point. My point is, like, I think we do need to somehow as a society get to a point where we can be like, okay, you know what? We need to get to a point where all of us can be like, you know what? I was uncomfortable with what was said.
Yeah.
I understand why it was said. I don't like it, so I'm going to not subscribe to Ronaldo, or I'm going to never watch Ronaldo again, for example.
100%.
But to go after him or anyone, in that way, knowing that it wasn't racist, but you're calling it racist because you think that if you say it's racist, then it is. Listen, at least in South Africa, we have laws that determine what is racist and what is not. And I'm fairly optimistic that Ronaldo's going to be, well, I wouldn't say he's going to come out of this unscathed, but he's not going to be racist. The courts are not going to call him racist.
No.
I might eat my words in the future about that, but I know him. I know him. I know him personally. I've met him a few times. I've watched him over the past few years. He's not a racist. And I'm judging him on his character, which is what we should be doing as a society.
Yes.
Judge people on their character, not necessarily by what they say all the time or whatever, but by their character. Anyway, I don't know what the answer is. I just know that society needs to take a moment and think about when you hear something offensive to your ears, just know that you have many choices at that point.
Yeah.
And sometimes trying to crucify someone is not always the answer, because it can blow up in your face.
100%.
So yeah, I think, having said that, I do think pedophiles deserve to be canceled. I'll say that.
Yeah, no, 100%.
And taken out in front of the court of the city hall and stoned to death. That we should do.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get flack for that, because people are going to say, "Oh, but Joe's now inciting violence on pedophiles."
You didn't say you didn't pick somebody specific. You went pedophiles. Again, I think it's generalizing is fine. But wait, I think I've got one last thing to say about the thing. It's like, if that reporter, journalist, like, I mean, if they actually released that video without editing it, it probably wouldn't have gotten any of half the traction it did.
No.
They did it selectively and on purpose, because they knew, and all they have to do is
exactly what he was doing.
Yeah, they can come back and they can post we didn't actually mean it, and like a small little article, they retract it, blah 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 blah. They're in the safe zone. They obviously checked it with their legal department, going, we didn't actually say he's a racist. We said we used this specific language. I mean, but they still did it. And at the end of the day, the reason they did it was for clicks. Let's be honest, it was money driven. Otherwise, if you really cared, you would have posted the whole thing and go, like, guys, what do you think? This sounds dodgy. But they didn't do it. They went, racist politician says blah, 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 blah. Here we go. I mean,
100%.
But pedophiles, eh? Shit. What are you doing?
No, that's a discussion for another day. And having said which, I think we should cut it here. It's been an hour already.
Yeah.
Wow, time flies. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts and all that stuff, well, check us out on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. We can get to see some nice visuals. I think the next episode we can do about my little stint in the RP. Yeah. Could talk about that
RP.
for a bit.
What's RP?
Fuck you.
I love that. That was so good. Maybe I should be a comedian. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. We'll talk about the RP and where it's at, and then we'll talk about some other stuff. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about other things. Let us know in the comment section below if you want us to talk about anything specific. Do you agree with us with what we've said here?
Yeah. Do you disagree? Should we go back to Europe? Well, Joe can't go, and neither can I, because they went. Unfortunately, it says South African on my ID and stuff. So
I'm going to go back to America.
They're taking our jobs. They're taking my job.
We might set up an ice cream shop, and I'm going to sell it online, international.
Email people ice cream.
The first flavor is going to be cocaine.
Oh, hey, dude, we should. Wait, but you're like, dude, do you have connections in Mexico? Huh? Oh my God, I can't. I've known you for so long. This is the first time I thought about, like, dude, let's start selling like some,
ice cream flavored cocaine. What?
No, just cocaine now. We don't have to sell ice cream flavor. Just cocaine. You make money. Damn, I didn't think about that.
By the way, we're joking before someone
Yes.
tries to report us and stuff
YouTube
like that.
cancelled.
Politician
Politician talks
joking.
to random dude about starting a cocaine business.
I stopped talking to Escobar years ago when he died.
Oh God, that's funny. God, that's funny. I'm going to delete
Anyway.
this video because they're going to use it in 10 years from now if you happen to be involved in anything
Joe
political.
and Mork are some big cartel syndicate.
Discuss their plans for starting a cartel in Africa.
For Ola.
16 kilograms of cocaine found in Mork's house.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thanks again for watching. Thank you for listening to us. Hopefully we'll be back in a month. Maybe a week. I don't know. We'll see. Keep an eye on the channel, but we will be uploading as much as we can. Anyway.
Yes.
Cheers. And as always,
stay based. What? Is that the thing? What's the line? Stay based. Yeah,
stay based. Okay.
Yeah, stay based.
Cheers.
Stay
and
based.
as
oh wait. No, wait. Go. You go.
The rustiness is real.